60 unit owners. This is the budget comparison for the Board of Directors, President Maria T. Velez, to consider. This is the alternative budget presented to the Board of Directors, and we're calling it the owner's budget. The budget passed by Velez and her board at the January 17th board meeting is an unprecedented, illogical $779,016.70. It is time for the unit owners to take action, and it is time for the Board of Directors to listen to what the unit owners would like. The 2017 Velez budget of almost $800,000 is comprised of a number of different line items. A number of different line items that can be reduced and or eliminated with proper planning. Velez's budget, the $800,000 or close to $800,000 budget, includes legal fees, $200,000, accounting, $15,660, insurance, $13,000, office supplies and postage, $1,500, annual corporate report, $61.25, fees payable to the division, $348. Real estate property taxes associated with property owned by the association, $29,571. Expenses for assessments as related to association-owned property, $25,460.71. Contingency for assessments of associated-owned property, $45,900. Shared components, the shared component fees related to association-owned property, the expenses for the association, $297,516. And lastly, contingent liabilities for pending litigation, an additional $150,000 in legal fees. This is the Velez budget that was passed by Maria Velez and her board members with a total of $779,016.70, creating a huge financial burden for every one of the residential unit owners in our building, making ownership at the 60/60 almost impossible and absolutely almost unaffordable by any owner. Now we'll take a look at what we can do with this budget, and let's star some of the items that can be changed or eliminated. We'll start with the legal fees, the accounting fees, the cost of insurance, real estate property taxes, the expenses of association-owned property as it comes to assessments, shared component cost, the $297,516 expense, which is the largest expense of the association. This is one we can address and one that we can eliminate, as well as the contingent liabilities for pending litigation, $150,000, and a review of the public records will show there is no pending litigation as represented by Velez's attorney. It simply does not exist. Now, when you look at this item here, $45,900 as a contingency for expenses of association-owned assessments, something looks strange. It does not seem logical when your contingency is almost double the line item right above it, the $25,460.71. Your contingency is almost double that amount. So that is either poor planning or another scam. So my goal here is I can show you a savings or try to produce a savings of almost $777,107. This is savings. Is this possible? Well, let's take a look and see if it is possible. In round numbers, Velez is promoting a budget of roughly $800,000. We just went over the line items that comprise that budget. And let's take a look at each line item one at a time. The legal fees of $200,000 can be reduced to $15,000. This is easy. The accounting fees can be reduced to $1,200. The cost of insurance can be reduced to $3,500. And the office supplies and postage, will leave that the same. The corporate reporting will be the same, and the fees paid to the division will be the same. When it comes to the property taxes, we can eliminate that. That can go to zero. When it comes to the assessments, we can eliminate that. That number will go to zero. When it comes to contingency for association-owned property, we can eliminate that. And also, we can eliminate the shared component fees of almost $300,000. We can make that go to zero very quickly with the simple vote of each owner in our association. The contingent liabilities for litigation, that'll go to zero also. This represents a huge savings for everybody, and this budget alone is $20,609.25 compared to almost $80,000. You can see why in my previous letters to you, I'm asking you to vote and end the madness, because the question becomes, would you rather have a budget of $20,000 or one of $750,000? It's not logical, people. But you know what? Let's get real. Let's look at what we can really do right now, today, right now, immediately, to save ourselves an astronomical amount of money. When we look at the Velez budget that we just went over, the items that are starred, we just showed you how we can reduce that cost. Doing so requires you to vote to do two things. We will eliminate all of the property and all of the liability. Velez testified under oath to the bankruptcy trustee that the commercial units were absolutely worthless. Yet they're carried on the books as an asset, but by Velez's word and testimony, they're worthless. So rather than being an asset, in reality, they're a huge financial liability for the association, and they need to be eliminated. And my plan and this budget takes that into consideration. So let's get real. The legal fees of $200,000, we're going to make $80,000. I didn't pull $80,000 out of the hat. I'm going to tell you where it goes. Unlike Velez's attorney and unlike Velez, when they were asked, what are the $200,000? What are you going to spend it on? What are the matters you're going to... They told me, look it up in the public record. I did. There is nothing pending that requires $200,000 worth of legal fees other than what Velez and her attorneys are doing together. The $80,000 is to pay off all the outstanding legal bills that in reality are probably one of the few bills that are actually belonging to the association. We can make a deal with the attorneys and we can pay them $80,000 or less. So the $80,000 is a real number, not an inflated number like Velez and her $200,000. The accounting, we can reduce that to $1,000 a month or $12,000. We can reduce it further and make it zero if they give the accounting back to Condominium Hotel Management Corp., who is doing it for free. The cost of insurance can be reduced to $3,500 because we're going to incorporate the commercial units into the HU unit. And in doing so, the only insurance that it would be required for the association to buy will be the directors and officers coverage, and that should be around $2,000 to $3,500 a year. The office supplies and postage, we can reduce that to $100 a month very easily. The annual corporate report will be the same. The fees payable to the division will be the same. And the contingent liabilities for pending litigation matters, I was told to look them up. I was told that it's to cover the litigation by the HU against the association. Well, people simply, there's no pending litigation whatsoever. However, Velez budgeted $150,000. I will budget $25,000. And I will tell you that this money will end up being returned to us to lower the budget in the future. Now, these are the real numbers. This is us getting real, presenting a budget to the board of directors, who, if they refuse to accept our budget, we're going to recall them and place owners on the board that are willing to make unbiased decisions based upon numbers, based upon math, based upon logic, not to promote a private war or a secret agenda to go after the hotel unit owner. Because cooperation must be the building blocks of our moving forward plan. And for the most part, it is. We have motions being filed in the court by less than 6 people whose delinquency is astronomical. The board members themselves combined owe $250,000. We have a unit owner who hasn't paid in 6 months or more, demanding access to the property, which she was freely given, yet she continues to make false and misleading statements to the court to the contrary. We have basically 6 people working against the best interest of the building, which in turn is the best interest of the association. Irregardless, we're making a budget that is logical, that addresses the needs of the building, and absolutely a budget that is designed to pay the bills of the association and not attorneys. We're going to eliminate all of the expenses associated with ownership of the commercial units. This represents a $3 million savings to the association, which is you and me, every owner in our building. So by eliminating the commercial spaces, which Velez testified before the bankruptcy trustee under oath that are worthless, we're going to give them to the HU and have them incorporated into the HU and remove that huge liability from the association, transfer it to the HU, and save the association by eliminating debt. We will save ourselves $3 million over the next 10 years. And we will immediately make the $800,000, or to be exact, the $779,016.70 budget presented by Velez and her out-of-control board members will make that totally ridiculous. We'll void it. We'll replace it with our budget, one that owners can afford. Owners cannot afford the budget of Velez. It's just not possible. How can a family afford to pay their expenses and an $800,000 Velez budget? It's not logical. We have Velez's budget versus a real budget of $136,700. This is the unit owner's budget, the one that we can afford, the one that brings our maintenance fees under $100 a month, where it should be. And this is the one that pays building bills or association bills and not legal bills. At the end of the day, you need to sign the recall and make this happen. Our building is being hijacked by Velez and her attorneys, and we need this budget because this budget pays the bills of our building and not legal bills. So it's your choice. What do you want to do? Pay building bills or legal bills? It's really that simple. Now, the budget components are critical for you to understand. It's very simple, but you need to understand what we have to do. We have to vote to incorporate the association commercial units into the HU. This saves over $3 million in the big picture. We need to vote to eliminate the CU percentages of CE, that means commercial unit percentages of the common expenses, and incorporate those common expenses into the HU. Take them away from the association and put them onto the hotel unit owner. This eliminates the association costs completely. The costs go from over $300,000 a year to zero. A simple vote, a simple change of the condominium declarations, which will be approved by the HU owner. We need to vote to replace the delinquent board members who owe the HU balance of almost $250,000, board members who do nothing and have done nothing for over 6 months to pay the bills of the building. They want all the amenities, they want to use the building, but they don't want to pay their bills. If they did not pay their bills at home, their gas, water, electric, TV, phones, everything would be turned off. Yet for some reason, they think it's okay to do this at the 60/60. We need to replace these people with responsible owners. And lastly, we need to vote to approve this alternative budget because it represents an immediate and a huge savings. We will reduce the cost of the association, and our budget will address the real cost of the association and not the fees billed by Velez's attorneys. Don't vote. If you don't vote, you can watch your monthly fees increase another $650 per month. Yes, people, this is real and this is going to happen in February. If you do not take action and if you do not vote, you can watch your monthly fees increase another $650 per month. Vote today and you save $650. People, it's your move. You need to make it a good one.